Hey, what's up guys, Hobo here, and today I have a very special update video. The 1.4.2 update came out, the long-awaited huge update. It's tons of stuff. I'm once again on my test world to show off the stuff that was included, and the 1.4.2 update is also known as the spooky or pretty scary update or something like that, if you may have heard that. So let's just get right into it. Um, There's lots of things to include, so I kind of set up myself a little alleyway to show off some of the major stuff. Obviously, I can't show off a lot of things like bug fixes, and the list is so long I probably can't include everything, but I tried to cover a lot of the main things. So I'm going to start on the right here, and we'll kind of circle back. So one of the major updates they included was this item, otherwise known as the beacon, and it's an end game item that is crafted with some rarer materials, or just a rare material that you get from uh, defeating a new boss, which I will get to later. And when you place this beacon on any sort of pyramid, it emits a light beam upwards. It also has to be exposed to sky and everything, but it emits a light beam, as you can see. And it, depending on what the blocks are made out of and depending on what you put into it and other variables, it emits a effect that can benefit you. So depending on the size of it, depending on what's made out of the pyramid, depending on what you set it to, it emits different effects. So you can see in here, uh, there's a tree of powers that you can activate, depending on how big it is. And there's also a secondary power, and you can also stuff a material in there, and blah blah blah. But this one is made out of iron, and it really doesn't matter what you make it of. I think you can alternate rows, but the bigger and more consistent the material, the stronger the effect is. So this one has an AoE, like the effect area of effect, of 37 blocks in all directions, and it is a 3x3 base. This one is a 5x5 base, moving upwards, of course, and it has an AoE of 51 blocks. This one is 7x7 and 67 blocks. And this one is the largest pyramid you can form, and it's solid diamond blocks, so if you ever made this, you are a rich man. And it has an AoE of 81 and is 9x9. So as you can see, the pyramids just increase, get bigger and bigger until they get to this. I'm fairly certain, about 99%, there is nothing bigger than this. This is the biggest pyramid you can form for the greatest effect. As you can see, all the trees are unlocked, so I can pick strength or resistance or whatever. Um, I could be wrong. Maybe there is a bigger one, but I just felt like making it this big. So I think this is the 4 tiers, the 4 possibility. I might be wrong. You never know. Oh well. Anyways, moving right along, there was some changes made to pigs and chickens, but I'm going to get to that in a second. But you may have noticed I made their little enclosure out of a new block called a brick wall and a cobblestone wall, or whatever you want to refer to it as. I guess it's not brick, but it's essentially a stone alternative to a fence. It's pretty much the same way. You can't jump over it. It's solid. It can be made out of mossy cobblestone or regular. Um, Whenever there's a corner or an opening, it has a little, it makes the corner nice automatically. And getting into what I was talking about in terms of the changes to pigs, there's 2 changes. Pigs are now bred through the use of carrots and not wheat, so they're going to make a little baby piggy. Um, they are also more useful because before you could put a pig or put a saddle on a pig and ride it around, but you couldn't really direct it. Well, now there's an item you can make by taking a carrot and a fishing rod, and it will follow the pig will follow the carrot, and as you can see, I'm kind of slowly building up speed. Eventually, it gets up to 5 meters per second, which is pretty useful. The carrot on a stick has a deteriorating, like similar to tools. You can also use it for a temporary speed boost, I think. I can't remember everything, but it's not going down because I'm on creative, but you eventually will have to replace the carrot. The fishing rod never breaks, but as you can see, I'm going pretty fast right now, and this can be pretty useful for traveling. Another thing you can do is you can also kill the pig and get your saddle back. I'm not sure if that's new. I think it's new. Before I don't think you could do that. So saddles are um, less of kind of like a keep it item because you can use it now. So that's pretty awesome. Let's stuff this stuff in there. The other change to chickens is less drastic. I believe it or not, you cannot ride chickens, but you now use seeds to make them breed. You don't use wheat. So there you go. Those changes were similar to back in the day where they made wolves uh, breed with meat. Another change they made, which kind of disappeared, uh, are a new mob, which I will create in a second here if I can remember where the egg is. There it is. So they added a new mob, which I just made this glass enclosure so they don't just fly away, that you can find in caves and at night, and they are bats. And as far as I know, they don't attack you. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't really be able to do much damage as they're so small, but it kind of adds a whole new element to cave exploring as there's something down there with you that's not going to attack you. And they used to, in the snapshot, they used to destroy crops and such, but they since changed that so they can't activate anything. So now they're just kind of flying around, having a good time, and not ruining all your stuff. So I think bats are pretty cool. Another just, another thing to look at when you're in caves, because obviously there's none of the friendly mobs down there. And the final change they made to passive mobs, I'll get to hostile mobs later, is they now uh, made you able to dye their collars. So as you can see, I have a red dog right here. Um, that's the default. I also made a green and a blue dog, so you can kind of distinguish multiple pets if you like that, or just have a different color collar on your one pet, whatever. So that's pretty awesome. Um, Moving along to the other side, I think I'm gonna start down here. Yeah, I'm gonna start down here. They added a awesome item. I'm super excited for this item, called an item frame. And an item frame basically just displays an item, as you can see, uh, and you can kind of use them for a lot of different ways. So this way is crafting design. This is how you make a beacon. So I made a 3x3 grid, and this is exactly how you would lay it out in a crafting bench. And you can use it for that, or you could say show potion recipes and all that awesome stuff. You can also make indicators or a compass or comma rose or whatever. Not comma rose, but you know what I mean. And there's various different things you can use as indicators. You can use trip hooks, tripwire holders, arrows, redstone, or you could just stick a map in there. And that green indicator is a it is where the map is. Like you can see the location. So like right straight up, looking down, that's where the map is. If I were to say hold the map, like the same map, not like an exact copy, I would be shown on the map somewhere here for someone looking at it, and I could also see this little green indicator on my map, so I could kind of use it as like a waypoint or so, something like that. If you're off the map, you just show up as a little white circle on the edge, depending on where you are. You can also use it in lots of decorative ways. You can have a working clock on your wall. You can have a compass that would point north. You can kind of rotate it. That's another thing you can do. You can rotate by right-clicking. You can also have kind of decorative torch holders. You can use like half steps, or this is a trapdoor, and it looks like it's a torch holder. You can also kind of label things. You could label this like this lever, for example, and you could also label dispensers. So I kind of set up something here. So flick the lever, shoots out red wool, so everything's matching. So if you have a bunch of levers along a wall, you don't need signs for each one. You can just kind of color code them and have like a sign that acts as a legend somewhere else. So it's kind of nighttime here, but we got plenty of light from our beacons, so that's pretty cool. You can also make kind of a, say, like a closet or display your weapons and all that good stuff. So they also changed leather armor. So now that is dyeable. You can use dyes that you would use for wool on armor, and there's like something like 160 million, I want to say, different combinations of color you can use. You just simply throw the piece of armor in to the crafting bench and the dye, and like mix up the dye as much as you want. You can get two-tone stuff, and you get colored dye, colored armor. And you can also reclaim the armor somewhat by washing it off. You could take the colored piece of armor up to a filled cauldron and wash it off, and that will wash the dye. I also have some various tools and different things displayed here as well. Another major addition was the anvil block. An anvil block is used to repair or combine or rename or various things you can do with tools. And they come in three different states. A brand new anvil looks like this, just called an anvil. This is a slightly damaged anvil, and this is a very damaged anvil. And anvils take damage through their use. Like say you repair a tool on it, it will take damage over time. Or you could say drop an anvil, like this little clever contraption I made here, and that can damage people as well as um, damaging the anvil. So you can use this as like kind of like a Looney Tunes trap. You drop it. Yeah, anvils are affected by gravity. Cool stuff like that. So I'm gonna do a little quick demonstration of stuff you can do with the anvils. So say you have a sharpness 3 and a sharpness 2 sword. You could stick them together. This is a poor example, but I kind of came unprepared here. I just had two swords lying around. But if you had, say, a uh, just had another enchantment and a sharpness, this outcome would be a sharpness whatever level and addition the other thing. So you can combine two different enchantments to get one. You can also combine two of the same enchantments to repair one sword. It could also level it up, to say. As you can see, it can cost levels. This is like hard to exhibit, but I'm trying to explain as best I can. But I'm in creative mode, so I can't really like, show you the level usage and all that stuff. But different things affect how much levels it costs, like how many times you've repaired the item, or what you're doing to it. Or you can rename items, which is also fantastic. So if I want to say name this sword Awesome, spelling awesome incorrectly, sword, you can rename it as it costs more than, say, repairing it, but now the sword says awesome sword in the tooltip. So it's like various cool things you can do. You could also say, like, obviously I'm creative, so I can't damage this sword, but say I want to rename the sword Pimpin' or something dumb like that, and say it had a bit of damage. So say I didn't want to combine this sword with another one to repair it. I wanted to repair just an enchanted item. Like, to repair a sword, normally you would have to take two swords and put in a crafting bench. But to repair an enchanted sword, you could also dump just materials in, just the materials that it's made out of, and the more you put in, the more it repairs it. It isn't working here because it's not damaged, but you understand what I mean. So I'm just going to stuff this junk back in there, and we'll move along. I hope I explained that, but hey, sorry about that, guys. I had a lapse in my recording, but I'm back. I just left off talking about anvils. So coming around the corner here, I'm going to talk about what I've put on this wall and along this little shelf here. So we can we'll start with the simplest. They added a new painting of the new boss, which I will talk about later, like I said before. But this is the Wither. Looks kind of creepy. But moving along, another big new addition is these wearable block slash helmet slash decorative things that you can stick on your head, you can stick on the ground, you can stick on a wall, you could stick in an item frame. You can basically do whatever you want with these. And what they're used for is, like I said before, decorative, or you could stick one on your head and you could be a wither. So obviously it doesn't work very well with my helmet, but you can basically look like a creeper and freak out your friends or whatever and creep in through their windows. And this one specifically has another use, which I will cover later, but you get these heads by killing wither skeletons, which is one of these, and they are found in the nether, and these are rare drops. So once you have a collection, you should be proud of it, I guess. This one, like I said, is used for another thing. These ones are just decorative. But we'll move along. This is another new decorative block similar to the item frames, but they're more for just like looks, I guess. They don't really serve a purpose like item frames do. They are potted plants, and they're made using clay. You can stick any form of plant into them except crops, I guess. So these are all the different saplings. This is a fern, the flowers. This is a desert dried up plant, or whatever you want to call it, and the 2 mushrooms. So they're just kind of for looks. You can stick them on your house or anywhere you want, really. This I just kind of threw here because it's a minor change, but they made it so trapdoors can be stuck on the top of a block instead of always just being on the bottom. It's similar to how you do it with stairs or half steps. You just aim at the top half of the block and place it. So now you can have flush floors and have trapdoors built into them. So that's nice. Oh, forgot something. They now included a kind of automatic corner step, which is done by placing essentially opposite steps right next to each other. So this is a normal row of steps. If I place this here, instead of just having, the normal step however you placed it, it now kind of conforms to the corner. So that's nice for like roofs or just large staircases. It's nice. This is another example. This is a corner step that is facing outwards. So that's pretty awesome. Kind of happy about that. It might make some of my more non-linear roof designs look better. These are the 2 new crops, which I briefly talked about before. But they have not yet grown, so I'm going to look for bone meal. Where's bone meal? Bone meal is in here. These are potatoes, I do believe. Yes, these are potatoes. So potatoes are grown just simply by finding a potato and placing in the ground. They don't have their own seeds. You simply use the actual food as the seed. So a potato looks like this. You can put a potato in a furnace and cook it, which I believe gives you more hunger points back. You can also get poisonous potatoes, which will give you a poisoned effect, and you should not eat them. Potatoes yield more than 1 per crop, so if I broke this, I'm in creative, so it doesn't count, but I simply get, I think up to 4 potatoes. So yeah, potatoes are pretty sweet. I'm going to start growing those. These are carrots. I don't know if carrots have the same multiple carrots per harvest thing, but carrots look like this in their fully grown form. Otherwise, they just look like regular crops like wheat when they're growing. I don't know about the later stages because I never really got to that, but these are carrots. Carrots are used to make carrots on the stick, or you can eat them, or you can surround it in gold and make a golden carrot, which have a special effect. The final new food they added is the pumpkin pie, and pumpkin pie gets its own row and one down here because I love pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is just made simply, it's just a new recipe, it's not a new item. You just combine eggs, sugar, and a pumpkin in a crafting bench. It doesn't have any order, you just put them all in. I think it's just those 3 items and you get a pumpkin pie. So I'm super happy about pumpkin pies. So that pretty much covers most of the major changes. Like I said, I'm not going to cover the minor ones. Hopefully I didn't miss any. Oh, I did miss this. that you can now make wooden buttons. So wooden buttons are cool because they can be activated by arrows, or it's just simply just a design choice. And they also kind of nerfed the recipe required to make buttons. Instead of 2 smooth stone or 2 wood planks, it just requires 1. So crafting a wood plank now gives you a button, or crafting a piece of stone now gives you a button. Almost forgot that. But that's it for the kind of the most of the major changes. Now I'm gonna swap my difficulty over here and show you guys the new boss and the new different mobs and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna cut the recording right here and kind of set up for that, and I'll be back in a sec.